Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Black heart, black mind, black in again. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. So I'm going to speak fairly quickly to try to keep this under 9 minutes. Because Negroes got short attention spans. And yesterday I went 6 hours. Here's the deal, yo. Look. I've talked about the division of accountability before. My relatively new subscribers and audience members may not know what that means, so I'll briefly explain it. The weaponization of accountability is something I will have to explain to everyone. So, to explain the first, I am referring to the one kind of accountability, or the accountability for one thing only that we men, black men I do mean, but it would help other Western men if they follow this too. But I'm talking to black men. We black men should only accept accountability for one thing specifically, which is making things too easy for sisters above the belt and below the belt. If all they want is a Johnson, we give it to them. We're told to. Now, I'm aware that the stereotype is not as true as we think it is, that men would just drop the drawers that easily and will be glad to do so. Because, see, a lot of men actually don't feel comfortable lying down with strangers, complete strangers. A lot of men aren't really that easy because something does kick in. You think, is this a setup for robbery? Does she have a husband? Does she have a boyfriend? So men do have a sense of caution about these things. However, it's still too easy for women to get dudes in the bed because several studies showed in the 90s, and I learned this in undergraduate psychology, several studies showed that even in the 90s, men actually engaged in more unwanted acts, you know what I mean, than women did because men were pressured to do so. Men were pressured to not say no and to feel that it was wrong for men to say no. Therefore, even though men have more sense than what we think we do, what even we think that men have, the fact is still that we have made the Johnson as well as everything else too easy for women. This is the one thing for which we men should collectively take accountability. So when I say the division of accountability in the title, this is what I mean. Don't take accountability publicly for anything else. Privately, between you and Allah, sure, if you know you did something wrong and you know you had better options, that means you had to have knowledge that it was wrong. You had better options you could have made. Assalamu alaikum. You had better options, better choices you could have made, and you had control over it, then you should accept accountability for that. However, you should not accept, and that's privately. However, publicly speaking, you should not even accept that because the options aren't yours. You understand? Now I'm going to get to the weaponization of accountability here. I'm going to talk about that next. So the weaponization of accountability, that being left, I'll cover that as quickly as I can. But you got to pay attention to this message. And all of you must hit the share button to share it with someone that you know can benefit from this. If you refuse to take accountability for anything else and take accountability for what I just said, you have already weaponized the accountability simply by that selection. But I'm going to tell you how you will know that it's a weapon. If you think about the sons of single mothers and the advice that they can get from, let's say, not old men in general, but old bums that sit on the corner and hang out and have the opportunity to chat with these young cats as they're on their way between home and school, okay? Let's imagine that scenario. The son of a single mother can go to and from school. He can see the old bum on the corner. They have an opportunity to chat each way, from one way each way. The old bum can say to the young man, "Hey, young blood, you get all the trim you can, man. You don't never turn down no trim. Man, don't be scared of no trim. That's how you become a man. Matter of fact, make a tape of it for me and send it to me, man." Okay, now, ask the single mom how she likes her son being told this. She'll tell you she doesn't like that. That's not good advice. It's nasty. He's a nasty old man. Okay, I get it. Fair enough. Now, let's move on. Let's compare her reaction to that. and the lengths to which she will go to prevent that. 2, her reactions and the lengths to which she will go to prevent you and me from telling that same son what you and I know, and why he should not actually pursue the trim, make the Johnson easy to get in the first place, why he should actually look at the standards he has to meet to get her or the trim, and then come up with a comparable and tradable, fairly equitable set of standards for the holder of the trim to meet in order to get his Johnson and anything else. Will she take more offense at our message or the old nasty bum's message? You know the answer to that. She'll let him walk to and from school as he always has done anyway. She's not going to get in that old bum's face and say, "You stop telling my son to be a punani hound." She ain't gonna say that. As easily, certainly. But you sit up and you tell him what he needs to know about the traps and what it is that women actually want. You know, the mysteries the mysteries that have been lasted for thousands of years, if not millions, that we now, because of social media, know what it is. It's finally been cracked. What does she want? It's the dual mating strategy. She wants to bust it wide open for one cat, take his baby, and pass his baby off to another completely different type of man for whom she never wanted to bust anything wide open, and then put that baby on him. That's what she wants. She wants the few to breed and the many to feed. That's what she wants. That's it, really. She wants to go through a 304 phase and not deal with any negative consequences of that 304 phase. That's what she wants. Therein is the mystery right there. Now, there will be many that choose not to do it. They may even be disgusted by such because they've been raised right. But if you don't put this guidance in them while young, there is the mystery. There is what they want. Now, I'm still under 8 minutes. Alhamdulillah. What I just told you is how you can tell that selection, that division of accountability I just told you about, is also a weapon. Now, why am I telling you to use that as a weapon, to weaponize the acceptance of accountability? Well, it's simple, because it's a war. And the boogeyman from Baltimore, you know what I'm saying, he told us what it is they want and what they're willing to do to get it and why they wear the mask. That is war. If somebody's going to do something to you that they would never tolerate you doing to them, and they insist on that, well, what they want to do that they would not tolerate in exchange is, in fact, oppression and injustice. But their insistence upon doing it to you is what makes it oppression and war. So now, because you're in a war in which you're not the attacker, you must do what it takes to, you must weaponize what you can weaponize. And that's what they teach you in self-defense class. Take regular, normal household items and use them against your attacker. And that's what they teach. So you take these things and this is a psychological weapon. And when men simply say we reject accountability and blame for everything because we didn't have the options, except that we made certain options, or we made all options too easily available to women, then all of a sudden, this is what younger men are going to start hearing on these talk shows and everything else. And then they say, you know what? Yeah, we did make it too easy. Yeah, we did make it too easy. They wouldn't even say we because it would maybe too young, but they would say, yeah, these men have made it too easy and they've wised up. So when I get older, I don't have to be any easier for them above the belt or below the belt than what they are for me. And the mere assertion by women that men are easier below the belt, which we generally have made true, but the mere assertion that we can't change that alone justifies polygyny and not polyandry. And that's another topic for another day. But the point is, we got to start thinking tactically, logically, and start weaponizing what we can weaponize, because we are in a war. And they're in a war to eliminate the majority of us genetically. And that war is never going to stop until there are no more people. Or until it just becomes so stupid a thing to even think about doing that nobody would think to try it. Because all they're really sitting up and saying is, most of you are inferior. Inferior to what? inferior to what they want because they want to mucking much. But they're not going to sit up and come to that conclusion. They're just going to assume most of us are inferior, therefore undeserving, but we can raise someone else's, which is what most of them would never accept. See, even though they can bond with other women, some of them can bond with other women's kids and some of them can't. The fact is none of them would accept a deal in which the only thing they can do is that. They would never accept that. You lock them into that and tell them that's your only option because you're inferior, and they will poison you. As a matter of fact, if you could commit maternity fraud or even mistakenly commit maternity discrepancy, if you could do so, if we could do so, all of them will be chemical weapons experts so they could poison us in exchange for it. Whether you knowingly did such or you just mistakenly attributed the baby to the wrong mother. It wouldn't matter which one. They poison you because they would never tolerate being done to them what they insist upon doing to you, and that makes it war. Thank you for listening. Sorry I went over 8 minutes. Black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum and black heterosexual non-select male power just because they don't like it. And black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.